have some glass pendant lights that you'd like to zhuzh up a bit? I had plans for my kitchen pendants, but never got to them until, yes, the clear glass practically disappears, and that's what happened when I was carrying a long board past here for a large DIY project. Ugh.
I can't believe I did that. Well, of course I can. Yes, of course I can. I'm Diane with South House Designs, and if you don't know me yet, you need to know that I am all about creative problem solving, watching my budget, and great DIYs and crafts. Fortunately, these pendants are still available and still under $40. So since we're replacing the fixture, it seems like the perfect time to add that little touch of style that I felt like they've been missing all along. What I had in mind was a very simple rim of gold leafing. With a bit of searching, I found these from Bella Design, which were close, and they're gorgeous, right? But they weren't gold leaf, but beautiful all the same, and matched the kitchen and the dining room hardware, but they were for $249 each. So I could buy one pendant for $40 and add just a little bit of a tiny makeover to it, or I could buy two for $500. Well, you know that I really didn't ponder at all on that one. Like I said, I'm all about watching the budget and a great DIY project. So let's get started on this one. I can't wait to show you how they turned out.
I started by experimenting on a heavy glass vase to make sure that I was using the products and the method that I really wanted to use. This section was done with a paint called Liquid Leaf from Plaid, and it actually looks the closest to the Bella Design one. This section was done with the gold leaf sheets, and this section was done with the gold leaf flakes. You can see that there's a little bit more texture there, which I really did like, but it was a little bit more difficult to do, especially when I was going to be doing one of the pendants still hanging in air. Honestly, I was really tempted by the paint, because once I held my sample vase up in my kitchen, I knew it was going to be the gold leaf sheets, and I'm so glad that I had that sample vase. The first step is to mask off where you want the gold leafing. I wanted about a 1/4 inch of gold leafing, but I did not have any 1/4 inch wide tape to use as the guide. So I used an 1/8 inch tape and set it up a little bit from the edge. Then I looked it over very carefully to make sure that I had been consistent all the way around. Then I applied my painter's tape next to it, using one piece all the way around for a really clean line. Then I was able to remove the guide tape and work from there. Now all the materials and supplies are listed and linked in the description below, and the rest of the process will be shown on the replacement fixture. I think it's a little easier to see exactly what I'm doing. Then you do the inside piece of masking tape, and this one I was able to look through the glass and line it up with the outside one, and I worked as I went along, burnishing the edge to make sure I had a good solid bond. This is the metal leaf adhesive resizing that I used, and it's linked down below. You just use a small artist paintbrush to apply it. Very, very easy to do. I started with the inside, all around the rim, and then on the outside, and then don't forget to go back over the top, or in this case, the bottom layer. After the adhesive is applied, you need to wait the length of time that your adhesive will tell you on its packaging. This adhesive from Speedball says 60 minutes. The adhesive will become clear instead of milky and become very tacky. And then you can start applying your gold metal. Don't rush this, and just use a very light touch, and you'll be amazed at how beautiful it ends up looking. The sheets do not lay perfect, so don't try to force that. You're letting it kind of fall where it wants to and guide it along, and then just with your fingers do a nice soft burnish to make sure that it is in full contact with the adhesive and it really is being held tightly. Here I started with a new full sheet, and so I tried to get as much length as I could by going diagonally down the middle. And then once I had that burnished in place, I pulled off a piece of the excess and was able to use that for the next section. Working like this, I only used 2 out of the 25 sheets in the packet to do these 2 lights. So I have lots of material left for so many more fun projects to come. Once you have all your burnishing done, you'll notice that there may be some spots that don't have any gold leaf on, just little spots here and there. So I take off a little bit of the gold leaf that's left over along the edges, and I use those to fill in where I need to. The large pieces I save for a bigger project, but then the smaller ones will fill in the empty holes very, very nicely. Now at this point, if you run into any places where the gold foil will not adhere, don't panic. It's okay. That can happen if, one, you miss a little spot on the glass with the adhesive, or 2, that was maybe where there was a little puddle of the adhesive. It was a little thicker. It didn't dry enough to become really tacky like the rest of it did. That's okay. You can easily fix it. Just take your adhesive, go back in over the top of that little area there, wait the allotted time, and then put another piece of gold foil on top of it, and you are set. Then you can go back and finish it up with the next step. It's not a problem. Now that you have the bulk of the excess removed, you can go back in with a soft bristle brush of some kind. I'm using a child's paintbrush here. And just make sure that all of the loose edges are laying down nice and smooth before you come back in with the sealer. We want to make this as smooth as possible. And now for the exciting part, you get to remove the masking tape or the painter's tape. And take this kind of slowly and have an X-Acto knife or a razor blade handy in case you get to a point where the adhesive went up over the edge of the painter's tape. You might want to split that before pulling it. This is the last step, and then after that I have a very cool cleanup tip to help you out. So here we have it. We've got all the masking tape off. Everything looks good. And I added a little snip of the masking tape back at one point along the edge. That is my marker. It's because the sealer is going on now, and it is clear, and it's very difficult with the shiny foil to see where you stopped and started. So I put that little piece of tape to let me know that I have made it all the way around. This is not difficult to do, but I am being very cautious about full coverage on the gold leafing, but also not to stray onto the glass too much. The bottle suggests 2 coats. I'm actually did 3 coats with a drying time in between each one. I did 3 coats because these are going to hang in our kitchen, and they don't hang very far from our cooktop. And I find how I end up cleaning these quite frequently. So I just wanted a little bit extra layer of protection for the gold leafing. And that's it. And we are done. And here they are, one with, one without for comparison. And now they're both done, and I am so pleased. I can't believe it took me this long to get to the project, and it was so simple.
So now that it's time to clean up, you really want to use this tip. Just grab your wad of painter's tape that you used for masking and pounce that around on your work surface where all of those little flakes of gold foil have fallen. Do not use a vacuum cleaner, and they don't sweep up either. So the best thing is to capture them on some sticky tape, and it's a breeze then. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this project. I would love to see what you've come up with. I am thrilled with it. All of the notes are down below. If you have any questions at all, please leave me a question. I will respond right away. I do appreciate a thumbs up and a subscribe, as always. Thank you so much.